So please give a thumbs up, a like, comment, shout out to where you're located, and the kitty cats. So any donations will go to the kitty cats. I don't need the money, as I keep telling everybody. It just goes to the cats, the strays. I don't have a name for this new one that's showing up, but he's pretty hungry because he's out there on the porch, and when I opened the door, he just stepped a few feet away, staying on the porch, looking at me like, hey, dude, I was eating your food you have out here, and you're kind of like, you going back inside? So I went inside, I grabbed him some chicken that Max wasn't eating, brought it back out, and he wiped that chicken out as I watched from the window. He's very happy. He stayed there, cleaned himself up, did his paw action. Now, I do give him the flea treatments too. I was trying to get sponsorship from that one company. They said they would. Nevertheless, I'll still recommend them if you want to know. Zap is my flea treatment. Let's go with this skids. People mentioned lead. Let me hit a lot of comments that people ask about things, different things. So lead was found on the vessel. Well, how can lead be found on a vessel if it's here unless the vessel turned, rotating, like spinning, and then this lead comes off and hits the waves, hit the vessel. I don't know where the lead is found as far as the wear on a vessel with the lead debris. I think it's in the reports. I think I called this segment at one time, but I recall that Zachary and I talked. He's a mechanical engineer. I think TGT might stand for their version of the steel pipes. It's a 2 and a 1 again. I think this, I don't recall how this system works, but this could be previous dives, or it could be this dive. But here's our last known location, and for reference for newbies here, it's a 200-meter radius from this point out, which is a total 400 meters diameter. The circumference would be the outside area. They use this as their 200-meter radius mark, and they could have made it bigger to include all the debris field. They'd have to go out another 50 meters, I would guess, and that's using this scale to your left. This is the 100-meter scale. This is the location of the bow of the Titanic, which they triangulate from, which I do in a video. I don't know if it was the last one or not. They triangulate from here to here to the rear of the vessel, about 1,600 feet. And they triangulate 200 meters to this section here, which is about 600 feet, thereabouts. And when you do the triangulation between two of them, you get over 1,400 feet, thereabouts. And it doesn't translate to this guy. It doesn't translate. It's about 150 meters, which is not 400 plus feet. So I think they might have screwed the pooch on that with their calculations from here to here. The triangulation just doesn't match up. It just doesn't match up. You can just pick a point yourself, go 200 meters out, and then go 1,600 feet out, and then, with the connection being here, and you will triangulate about 1,400 plus feet. I just don't recall just now. Last known location, let's get the bigger view of that. That was not it. That is it here. So our last known location is our center point. And say this was a weight. Remember they said they dropped 2 weights. All right, so maybe they don't find the weights here and we just see 1 weight. But it could be the same water column, which means your elevation, if you will. All right, water column, same elevation. Okay, so this could be the same elevation when they said they got their last ping. There could be some communication issues going on. We already know that was happening on there, so maybe they could have pinged again, but it never made it. But I want you to pay attention to the skid debris opposite each other. It's parallel each other. It's not like skid debris here and what? Oh, well. It's not like skid debris here and skid debris here and skid debris here. It's not like that, but it is, isn't it? So skid debris can be the weights. So skids, these are skids. These are the upright legs. All right, these are carbon fiber down here. This rear end is braced with a bracket here, 3 bolts, I believe, and This configuration up here has really got me. I wish somebody could find that image for me. This iteration is this iteration, meaning this has been changed multiple times. I showed you that it's sheared off in part of the final implosion. The okay, let me leave it at that. And these are the legs. So these are ejectable. The weight belly strapping, all this material here, strapping is here. So let's see if we can find that in the skid in the over here. So we have a thruster mount, and we have a thruster mount and drop weight tray. And drop weight tray. So the definition would have been more clear about drop weight tray with the Tony, but maybe they didn't ask that because no one's commented about that. I didn't watch Tony's testimony. I saw a piece of it, but I don't even recall what I just said I'd come back to it, and I never did because he wasn't there at the time he quit, right? So so he wasn't there on this dive. So everything he says is before this dive, and he's not going to jam himself up. Besides, there were quite a few changes, as I understand, after he left on the vessel. So this is the drop weight mechanism. I think it's on the other side. The pipes are loaded, and this might be the counterweight for that. So let's just think about that. You drop weights from one side. These are the counterweights. Now you've got to use the thruster, and they take these cowlings off. Fairings off, whatever you like to refer to them as. There is a difference, but they have to use that thruster on the other side, and I believe they take these off when they dive because it creates a vortex problem. That's why you see them off now, I think, when they do the diving. And so you'd have to use more of the thrusters there, or you'd have to find the mechanism that released these weights. And these were time dependent, if I recall. They hang, and if everything goes south and you're stuck there, they hang from a deteriorating material that will deteriorate and the weights will drop free. So this is where they store them. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's where they store them, but that's not where they hang. They obviously would be on this track. And you may instinctively think, well, there's probably a pin down here they release, and it just swings down, and it slides off. Well, that wouldn't work very well if you're already at the bottom, would it? You can release the pin all you want, and you're stuck at the bottom. You're not losing any weights. But if you hang these little dingleberries in here, they would drop free. Yeah, I said that. I'm trolling the trolls that trolled me with their drawings. So now we look at this. There's the rear end. This says the tail. All right. This says tail also. Foam number 2. Apparently there's another piece of foam there, and this is craziness. This distance. So this puts us at a little bit of an elevation when this goes down because the tail foam and they fall at 2 different rates of descent. Let me address the comment. I'm sorry. I was addressing you over here. To the person who says no one's talked about the currents. I said, I recall this search and rescue team, so let me give a shout out to the Coast Guard on this. So you guys may have thought that he was being dumb and everything else and wrong, but this is what I state to this person, but I don't think he was. I recall the search and rescue team understood about water column and currents. This person's talking about no one's mentioned currents. And currents, and he was trying to map the currents where they would be if they were stuck in a water column bobbing around. They only made it up so high. And this is why they had a larger search area initially. But once they had the equipment on station, the equipment that can go down to the last known location, see, their sonar could only work so deep, and they couldn't touch bottom. They couldn't reach the bottom. They sent the equipment down to the last known location and did a grid search. They did grid search is different. There's a circular pattern search. A grid search is literally what it sounds like. It's left and north and west axis, if you will, and it's however they laid it out in this case. It was north and west. And you do a grid search. Up one, move over, come down, move over, come up, move over, go down, and that's your grid search. All right, it's like invisible lines that you lay out, string lines, and then you look inside each line, eliminating each box, each line, each cross section as you go. So initially, the Coast Guard search efforts appeared stupid, But they were logical, especially with the limited sonar detection the detection had. They only could go so deep, as I understood, on that equipment they had there. I understand the method. I think it was sound. As far as subsea currents, sure they exist, but not as much as below the surface. As you stated, you could observe the balls of ex-plant life, meaning it was dead plant material down the bottom, organic, and it was not on a mission to go anywhere. It's just staying stationary. Even though they had the thrusters going on the ROV, this was pretty much staying where it was. Further proof of that is the Titanic is not covered in sand, and clothing can still be observed on the seabed. You can still find shoes, etc., just on the seabed. It's just really current neutral down there. As far as column current goes, and you also see how flat it is down there. And this debris field, the heavier debris would hit the surface first, and the lighter debris would be behind, following. I would do a video short on that, and this turns out not to be a short. So so if you get the implosion here, all right, the heavier parts go right down, right there. That's it. That's where everyone says last known locations where it imploded. Well, what are we doing over here? Look at the distance. Look at the map. These are 100 meters apart. These right here. There is. Oh yeah, and I even got crows demanding food. If you can hear them outside. Let me see if I can pull this up. All right. So this is a 500. Yeah, I said 100 meters earlier. I apologize. This is the 100-meter one, all right? So this is the 500-meter scale on this one. So this is 500 meters, and so from here to here is 500 meters. There is the last known location. Over here is 500 meters. 500, my ass. 5,000 meters. So from the last known location to here is over a quarter mile, all right? It's over a quarter mile. Let me give you something on the side here. Let me pull this over. So 5,000 meters. Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm screwing that up. I was thinking 400 meters. Yeah, my brain screwed up. Yeah, this goes to... This is friggin' nuts. This goes to miles. A mile is 5,280 feet. So this goes to 5,000 meters is 3.1 miles. I get these scales, I keep jumping around. So this says 5,000 meters. It's 3.1 miles, guys. So here is their scale, not mine. There's 5,000 meters. Now, it doesn't make sense, does it? Because this is a 5,000 scale. Here's the end cap. Here's the last known location. For your reference, here's the crosshairs, and there's a crosshair. As you can see, it's beyond that mark here. That's 5,000, and this one is metal. Is beyond that mark. It's to the left of it. This one here, this metal ring. It's right about there. This one's inbound a little bit. This end cap capsule. So it's stating 5,000 meters apart. Not me. They're stating it. I'm just using their graph. It's stating it's 3.1 miles away. Now, how did they go down to the last known location and find this 3 miles away? That's not me, guys. That's them. That's their calculations. 5,000 equals 3.1 miles. So they would have found that, perhaps. But they said, yeah, they went down there and found it like pretty much on the money. Maybe they had sonar on board this thing, and they were able to find it via sonar anomaly, and then move over to it and like, gotcha. Using this 5,000 meter scale, it just gets more crazy, because here to here is 5,000, which is 3 miles. So here's the end cap, and 3 miles over are the skid debris, which is about 6 miles from here as you go laterally. So let's look for those little crosshairs. There's one. That's 5,000 from here to here. And then the second one's here. And we slide up. That's 6 6 miles rather, 10,000 meters plus. Yeah, it's not me. You know, it's there. It's there. It's not me. It's you, but mostly you. Or rather, it's me. It's not you, but it's mostly you. I got a shirt that somebody gave me that says that. It says it's not you. It's me, but it's mostly you. So, as we look at this scaled graph, it just can drive you crazy. But if we eliminate their graph altogether and just look at it without using their even I want to say outrageous distances, this would imply that they floated around there for hours. This means that knock every 30 minutes could really be true, couldn't it? Because this is miles that we're talking about here. Miles, as they state, not me. So we go 5,000, we go here to here. We've got 3 miles that they move from last known location to skid steel bands, the syntactic foam coming off. We've got miles that they travel per their scale. Okay. Per their scale, it's 100 meters. This scale says 100 meters. So it's 100 meters from here to here. So we come up here, we find that target, and that's one there. Drop it down, split the difference of the other target. So target here, target here. So between these two is 50 meters. Now here we go, 50. So I'll back off away, I'll add, let's call it 40 meters. And then, so I've got 60 left to get to this other target. And the other target is located here. And I'll scroll up to parallel it. So I've got 60 meters parallel this direction. So I think this is probably more accurate, and that this one's worth jack shit to look at with the scaling. It's just not worth the effort. They screwed up. They screwed up with this scaling. It just doesn't make sense. Even though it says it's used, it should give us meters over here, units, meters. It's just wrong. This is research services. It's wrong, but this one might be more accurate. It's in hundreds of meters. Again, 100 meters, so this is 100 meters, 100, and again, the target's aligned with these numbers. There's some cross numbers here to be able to go up 100 meters, 100 meters. So we come back to this again. Let's look at our last known location. Let's use this and not the one that says it's miles apart. So me, I can't throw out any bit of evidence when I'm trying to figure out something. I don't care how small it is. It's still evidence. It's because it's inconvenient. I can't dump it. I can't just say, well, you know what, count that off. We'll just not count that because it's inconvenient. So in other words, the TGT is not identified in this map. I think it's steel piping, and it could be from a previous dive. But it happens to be by our last known location. And then we have TGT2 up here, and then a TGT1 again. I'm going to go back to the larger scale because this is overlapping, as you can see. But the advantage of this overlapping is they get the bullets become closer, these dots. So we get black debris. Let's see, skids here and skids here. Now they present closer. We go to larger scale, and our skid debris is still here. See at the peak of this valley or dip. Now, it's interesting, T2, T13, T4, they're not identifying that as anything that I can extrapolate to. It's, elevations. Touchdown +3, touchdown +2, touchdown +4 foot elevation. I don't know. I don't know that. It's this company that would know it. Now, I can go search their website and figure out what they mean. I could actually call them up and probably find out, but maybe one of you guys will do that instead. It's not that critical at this time. More did I get out the implosion thing so I'm getting a lot of slack about it. Imploded at the time of last known position. Oh, okay, let me get you something. Okay, post hoc. Wait a minute, it should be a different saying. Hold on. It's short enough post hoc ad hoc, but it's a longer phrase. Hold on. Ergo proctor hoc. All right. Okay. This is important here. Post hoc ergo propter hoc. It's a Latin phrase. You know what? Here we go. Let's let them do it for me because I...
Remember we spoke about post hoc ergo propter hoc. After this, because of this, we...
Okay, let's just do that. All right, that was a definition by... That's good. So you tie things together. You hear a big bang, you go outside and look, and you see somebody laying on the ground. You swear that that big bang, now you interpret it as a gunshot. It sounded like one, and this person shot. And then you see the person get up and walk away. You go, oh, wonder what that noise was now. You connect things together sometimes. You have to be careful. It becomes an instant bias. Last known position doesn't mean it imploded right then. If it did right then, let's implode it right here. All right, we got, using this scale, we've got to push everything over 100 meters. We're off the deck. Last known position, you guys using a 3,400 feet and some change. So, sorry, moving my chair. Oh, and also I'm breathing today. I apologize for breathing. Wait a minute. Oh, I didn't have a mic on that? Oh, that's really going to piss somebody off. Hold on. Oh, yeah, I do all the natural stuff. I even sneeze. Oh, my gosh. So a couple of people. So I love the one comment somebody said, oh, my gosh, would you please, control your breathing? Stop breathing even. So that one was humorous. I get the humor in that. But someone said, yeah, will you clear your throat? No, that can't clear my throat. Oh, no. I would love to get a copyright strike. But there's a song that goes, let me clear my throat. You guys should look it up. God damn. Hot damn or something like that. You guys got to look it up. It was many years ago. So I think I'd get a strike on that. But I'd love to slip that in here as my troll back. I like trolling, just like sort of doing that. The mucus thing just then, yeah, might disgust some of you, right? But look, it's actually a natural thing that you should do. It adds mucus to your stomach. It protects your stomach from acid buildup. Look it up, the mucus lining of your stomach to protect it from acid. It's not by mistake that you want to do that. Spitting, on the other hand, is not natural to spit it out because you don't even taste that phlegm that you swallow. You don't taste it. It's beyond the taste bud area. And that phlegm or whatever it may be, mucus, helps with the lining of your stomach. It's a natural occurring thing. So blowing your nose is not natural. And then the other one is, unless you got dust and shit in it, to clean it out, of course. But and the other one is sneezing. People say, God bless you. It's a cribriform plate that needs to be cleaned off, and that's why you sneeze. It's gotten dirty and shit on it, and the sensors on the cribriform plate says, let's vibrate this off, and let's clean the plate. And so it triggers a sneeze action, which if you look up cribriform plate, you'll find out it's quite this. I've always found the cribriform plate one of the most disgusting looking porous things inside of our skull. Ugh, cribriform plate. But I understand the sneeze. And now, ask your doctor, why do we sneeze? Do they understand the cribriform plate and why we sneeze? I have yet to find anybody give that definition I just gave you, just so I know. All right, moving chair, not farting, just moving the chair, in case you think you heard a fart. Some of you freaking freaks out there, don't want you to get all excited. All right, so and farting's not natural. You should just hold that in. Of course, we know women don't do that shit at all. So men need to be more like that. All right. Trolling, teasing, having fun, and joking about life. So last known location, let's just implode this son of a bitch here at 3,400 feet. It just implodes. All right. And so now you see the direction of the end capsule and the rings and the debris field down here. So at 3,400, it takes a trajectory down to 0 elevation. All right. So it's at 0 elevation here. And the rest of the sub, as it implodes, as you have it imploding inwards and putting the ring here and the end here, the rest of the sub decides first it's got to get rid of the tail cone in this direction. The tail synthetic foam. I said synthetic a few times. I know my brain wanted to shortcut it, I guess. And that's the tail cone. And it shoots it over here 300 meters. All right. Well, it does have a little floaty, a little bit of flotation ability to it but the batteries are too damn heavy. So no. But nevertheless, you guys have it shooting over here. Remember, your implosions happens here. If everybody says it happened right now. Oh, and then the skids come off, so it imploded here. The skids, being made of carbon fiber and steel, they don't stay there. They in the bottom of the belly of the beast. The skid and steel banding, once it implodes at this location, it sends that steel. So let's turn the vessel, instead of being at 0 position top here, let's turn it at 0 over here. So now we can get it, help you with your direction. So the steel banding shoots from the belly of it now, but it's on that direction facing this way. Okay, so now if it's facing that way, the head's facing this way to get the steel belly to eject its bottom off. The bottom here, you have it there. So now, well, I'm going to try to help you out. So it shoots that way, and then it spirals a bit. It turns towards the clock. It turns this way a little bit. It's imploded and decides to come over here 100 plus meters. Oh, it's not done because the thrusters that are on the top side of it, or even on the other side, and here on both sides, they magically get thrown hundreds of meters this direction. Here's the thruster mount. Here's the carriage strapping. Here's another thruster over here somewhere. What is that other thruster? Hold on. It's another thruster. It was multiple. There you go. And there's the other thruster. All right. So, and then I think they have 3 thrusters. There we go. Thruster and drop weights. And so it scatters it there. Oh, then we got this black debris. That's part of the skids. That's the undercarriage here. That's carbon fiber right here. Yep. So it's your place, location here. It then throws that. The implosion happened here. It then throws that downfield here. So keep in mind that it's going through hundreds of meters of water pressure that's 4,000 psi. And it's able to dart through there. Now, if you guys ever seen a bullet being shot into water, you know how quickly water absorbs the bullet's penetration. In fact, the military has special water bullets for that, for underwater for shooting bullets from a gun underwater. They're special, and they're not given to regular troops. All right, they have maybe 50 feet of ability to travel underwater. They're trying to improve it, so it can make a wake and then travel in its wake is how the bullet works. Kind of an interesting thing there. So this is creating, this somehow magically duplicates let's do that. The bullet, the engineered bullet. Everything does. The thruster does. The skid debris, the small white debris here that happens to make it hundreds of meters away. Some more small white debris. Some small black debris. Some more small black debris, making it hundreds of meters away. Now we already dealt with the currents here. It's not, and we're only about approximately 400 meters off the deck where you guys have the implosion over here. But yet you have it traveling. Let's do the meters. Again, this is 100 meter. Oh, fuck me. We're at the 5,000 meter scale. I don't like that one. We're at the 100 meter scale. Now let's go to this one. Here's a target here. So that's one, and let's go to the next one. That's 100 meters. That's 200 meters. Nope, let's go from here. This is your last known location. Let me target it. All right, it's half. It's greater than half. It's about 60 meters over the next target. So our next target is, I'm trying to locate it. Sorry, here it is, here. So I'm going to scroll down. So that's 60 meters, and then I'll scroll over. So that's 160 meters. See the target right here? And I scroll up. So it's 160 meters just laterally. Diagonally, it's way more, right? What I did was, I'm not going to share that with you now. I just took one of these. I scaled it. I mapped it out, and I was able to get the measurements here. And we're talking 300 plus meters to get out here, but from your last known location. And this one only moves over 100 plus meters to here. But you have, if you look at the debris field, you have it all going this direction in your implosion. Now you guys all love the other people posting videos of the Titan being imploded and crumbling into shreds. Now I put my videos up, and it hurts your feelings so much that I've never said it crumbled into shreds. And I'm giving my explanation of the debris field, and this hurts your feelings because you have a conclusive file, I call it. I like psychology on this channel if you read the profile there. And you made a conclusive file, and you got a lot of skin in the game on that conclusive file. And now the truth is coming out. This hurts your butt hurt. All right, so it hurts your feelings. So this is going to make you pretty combative when I start revealing what the true evidence can represent. That it represents that it did not implode at its last known location. We'd have our debris field that would not look like this. We have a syntactic foam section, let's go to a larger scale, that fell off right here, the rear end. But right in proximity to that is skid debris. Skid debris is very interesting, again, because this is what they're calling skid debris. At the time, did they know what it was? Remember, they didn't know, the break of this, what it was. But now, with that said, we go back to, well, when did they date this? And should they have knowledge at that point? No part of a marine port casualty investigation will be admissible as evidence in any civil or administrative proceedings, other than administrative proceedings initiated by the United States. So they cannot use this as evidence in a civil or administrative proceedings. This document now, criminal, sure. St. John's Lighthouse. I'm swallowing, guys. For all you people that are upset, I just swallowed. Fuck me, I apologize. I'll never swallow again. Oh, shit. Yeah, that came out. That came out wrong. But I'm a good joker, so I'll go along with that one. So you can have fun with me on that one. I got to play along with that one. All right, I got quite a few jokes on that any damn way. So right here is skid debris. Maybe they did not know what it looked like at the time of this this production, producing this document. And so they call it skid debris, but it's left and it's right if we put the Titan here. I'll give it away more so on Monday, but today, once you lose the skid debris, right now this is a neutral axis. When you put it in the water, do they need thrusters to keep it from tilting left or right at a plumb or at a level? Do thrusters have to come on to keep it left or right? People inside, does it have a gyroscope system that automatically adjusts its thrusters to keep it in a level position? I don't know if it has gyroscope in there. This guy is pretty damn cheap. All right, so to keep it in that position, and can you override the gyroscope would be the thing also. You'd have to be able to override it. in case it malfunctioned. So that skid debris, this is skid, not legs, skid, like a helicopter. Okay, so we get skid debris. All right, this would give us roughly the width then of it. But hold on, this skid debris, if it was here, we see that it's approximately 5-6 feet apart. Okay, so this skid debris is greater than 5-6 feet apart. This skid debris is about 20 meters. Correction. Gotta make sure first. Yep, wrong fucking scale. Let's use this 100-meter scale. Let's go back to skid debris, skid, and skid. Maybe I'll get lucky and land there. Nope, skid and roughly skid. So about 20 meters apart. Let me see if I wind up on the other skid. Well, a little closer than that. Here we go, let's scroll down. Let's take note where it lines up here. About 210 meters. And then let's do this one. About 180. It's about 30 meters apart. This and this. Now that's this direction. But if you have to measure it, you'd scale it, measure this direction. And it comes out roughly the same, little, maybe a hair more. So now they're 30 meters apart spread. How are they able to drop the skids? I don't know. This is what Tony could probably answer in his iteration. Can you release a pin here? Will this let this roll over if they were on here? I did see them on here before. I also seen them hanging with the line that deteriorates over so many hours. Remember the 24-hour line or whatever it may be? 12 hours later, it wears out. There's a line that I forget what it's called that will no longer hold its tension and break free and allow whatever it's holding to vanish into the vanish. So you take this up higher, and if you could drop these, and I don't know how they can drop them manually. I don't know, but it's stated here as skid debris. So if they were hanging from that string, they still wouldn't break until they wear out. But nevertheless, we're looking at skid debris. Now the syntactic foam in the tail section, it says tail, like there's somewhere, like it's located somewhere else also, implying. And there's a little piece of foam way outside, a good 40 meters away. All right, so skid debris, and it's more likely after the skid debris. And then it says field debris, white debris, black debris, metal strapping, black rectangular curved debris. This would be under the belly, but black is more like carbon fiber, I think. White debris, skid debris again. All right, so we've got them shedding weights. Thruster and drop weights tray. Now it gets interesting. So the thruster and drop weights tray, they do not go down together. They do not. You don't drop a thruster and a drop weight tray together. So this son of a bitch is coming apart. I think they inflated the bag. I think they inflated the bag when it got panic mode. I told everyone part of the hint, pretend like you're the pilot. So you're like, you know what? Russ says, this shit's south. Everybody says it's south. Fuck this, let's bail. So they drop weight calmly. He says, we'll drop 2 weights. They state this at last known location. We drop 2 weights, but in reality, they're trying to keep calm in there. Of course you should. Don't panic. And they say, go ahead, let's go ahead and abort. And so he goes all out, and he unleashes the bladder system underneath of the Titan here, underneath here. This inflates, but now it pops these bolts here. They drop weights also, and this starts a snowball progressive collapse, because this is, as far as I know, never been tested with the weights off. It's neutrally buoyant in this position up, if you will, in the water, or slightly angled. in this position as it dives down towards the Titanic. And once you drop the bottom weights, drop all this underbelly weight, forget blowing this up yet. If you just do that alone, I think you're going to have this thing roll, because this was the bottom weight that was keeping this a pendulum, keeping this from the top end. The new buoyant position would be different. It would have huge air pocket here. We'd have an air tank here with 10,000 psi, which is equivalent to a fucking bladder back there, right? They want to put a bladder here by transferring the air here to the bladder here. But as soon as you drop these weights, this bladder was counterweighted by the weights here. This 10,000 pound psi tank. It is a fucking bladder. Dropping these weights, you do have a 10,000 pound, 10,000 psi charge container. I believe it's in here to charge up the bladder system. But dropping these weights, this thing has a new dynamic. This bladder might be able to roll the vessel over. So roll it over as opposed to its current position. You drop these weights, your plan is to next hit the bladder, but you screwed the pooch, because now you're upside down on your ass over heels. You're on the roof now. You're on the ceiling. Everybody's on the fucking ceiling. The control module's up here. He's got to go to his knees, find a phone, turn a flashlight on perhaps if there's no lighting, and look at everything upside down from here. Because this, once you drop these weights, flips this whole vessel over. This one fucking bag alone, this 10,000 psi container, full of air, and this is also full of air. And then the people, wherever they are, that could change the dynamics. If they go to the front, then now we're different. If they go to the front, we're diving towards the bottom more so with the front. And then this is hanging off the back end high, pulling away from the structure. If this could accelerate, then we'd get our shearing action of this falling off. But remember, that all has to take place pretty much right after they drop the skids, because this is the delivery of that. This is the delivery of the rear end in the ocean. And we've got a long ways to go still to get them over here to get in our implosion zone. All right, so skids are significantly far apart that you can say they're not on the deck. If they were on the deck when this happened, implosion happened, well, first off, you guys said it happened over here. So how the fuck did it get over here? All right, so it had to move over to here. It's also not on the deck, meaning not on the ground, because it would implosion here would have just buried the skids more than likely. And these skids aren't buried. The skid debris is where they can observe it. Remember, they can't find the damn lens. If anything, that one probably got it. We always said, why can't you find it? Well, it is a fucking needle in a haystack. But it also could be, buried in the sand. They could have took an angle of incidence that tucked it in pretty damn good. Then they could have and just holding back from us. Who the hell knows? But this changes it. So now you're ass over heels or you're diving head down. Now let's change the direction now. Let's say that this is more buoyant than the back end. So it goes up, the top climbs, but this has still got some hell of a buoyancy into it. You got the tail end syntactic foam, and you've got this now. You no longer have the counterweights. So this creates a little bending moment where it wants to pry out. No longer connecting a kickstand down here. It's just contacts down there, not welded or anything else. It contacts there, and it's trying to climb. This now puts these bolts in shear. Normally they're just lowering kind of like that, kind of equal. Maybe a little bit of an incline. But now if you get this going up, this whole back end becomes in tensions at these locations. 1, 2, and the opposite side. It's not connected down here. That allows us to get our shearing action from here to be able to slip out of these. Remember, this doesn't have, when this comes out of another lens, this side I don't know if it's on or not, but the other side, it does not have the 3 bolted connections in here. They sheared off, or they sheared off from fright, from being electrolysis over the years. This has got years under his belt, them not changing things out. Oh yeah, I remember this one. I just breathed, damn it. I apologize for the people out there who can't stand humans breathing. Damn. So anyway, so we get rid of the skids here. Here's our field debris, but we're not done. After they do that, they drop that off. Now they're just fucking, just shit's coming off. Thrusters, the airbag might have got some air into it, and then the thrusters came off. See, the thrusters things I find amazing, that the thrusters come off. The thrusters come off because they're still mounted at the top and the bottom. So the thrusters, I think that it's kind of odd that this might, after they drop the skids, this might have taken a round trip. Like it came up here a bit. Now let's find the other thrusters. So here's a thruster mount. And it says, keep note, it does say thruster mount. I don't know if they mean thruster also. Because there is a mount and then there's a thruster. So there's a frame that holds the thruster, and that would be a thruster mount and then the thruster. So did the thrusters get pulled out of the mount when this went down? Did we find them separately? But they do talk about the thruster and drop weight tray right here. They're specific about thruster mount here and then thruster. All right, so then they're specific about thruster here. So do they right here inflate the airbags right here? Do they go from here, panic, shithole, panic, right? And then now let's go a different way. There's multiple ways I'm working this out. And you saw one and maybe the other one's on Monday. This will be a different version of it. And then I clean them up until I found to the one that makes sense of all the debris. So last known location, they come over here. There's thruster and drop weight tray. Okay, so they start dropping this shit, dumping this off, scattered debris and a thruster. Oh, I like that. So, I'm just talking out loud to you. So I'm being facetious too. So I like this though. So there's thruster and thruster. So now they inflated the bag here, the bag, to try to get elevation. Look at our distance apart from thrusters now. Thruster here and thruster here. They're pretty far apart. So this would indicate to me that these thrusters, this was a higher elevation. Remember, the closer they are, the more they're at their bottom of the surface. So this tells me they might have been up here when they dumped the thrusters and weights. They're pretty far apart, these thrusters. And so they dump them. And now as we look, and then they say this goes sideways a bit, literally like this direction north. And then they said, let's go ahead and hit that's when they hit the airbag right here. And then from here, let's dump even more shit. Let's drop the skids. So over here, they drop the skids. Skid here, and here it's orientated like that, or an angle like that. And when they drop the skids, they're at a different elevation because they're not getting higher anymore. They're descending. And I base that on, look at the thruster span from here to here. Look at the height, the span from here to here. This is elevation. At some point, they instead of going up, they went fucking down. And now maybe this is because they're taking on water behind the bladder, behind the carbon fiber, leaving that open, and it's getting heavier. It's only one of my theories from a long time ago. They're going down and not up. So they said, you know what, let's dump the skids. And when they dump the skids, you see the proximity of the skids are closer now. So this means they're closer to the bottom now. They dump the skids, and fuck me, of all fucks, the tail synthetic, the tail goes with it. After they drop the skids, some behavior happens where it might have tilted up real quick. It might have did an action up, and that would put it wanting to rise. And we just need to shear the bolts off. All right, so I got to get you my damn image for that. Let me pull it up. Yep. Okay, let me pull these over. He's touching it, and which one is the better one? Not quite better, because I have a closer one. But this is what fit inside the other bracket, this side. And up here, look at it. Doesn't it look like that could be the bracket? That bracket, remember I showed it to you? Doesn't it look like that could be bracket of the sub, because it's kind of, that shape. Now, that's the bias, because I'm making a shape in my mind, wanting to be there. And this one slid out on this side. All right. And you can see it's not broken. It's not it doesn't even look twisted as I theorized it. It could also have taken that spin and caused this action, but that might have pinned it also, impinged it more. So let's do this. There's there, escape again. There's that top connection. Drive me crazy. I wish somebody would find it for me. There's a 3-hole connection where this thing comes up the back strap. Does not come up and go over the top, but it face connects. And so that's probably a bolt to hold that top strap. You see it descending here, and it appears to descend like this. And that's with the weights on it. Now, let's go ahead and drop the weights. And what will it do, dropping the weights? Will the ass end jump up, or will the front jump up? I don't know. I really don't know, because, they didn't test it. And will it still stay in that plane? I would say no fucking way. You'd have to use a hell of a lot of thrusters to keep it in that plane. This is in that plane, this shape, this formation, with the weights on it. All right, so now you go ahead and you dump those weights, and this thing could go roll, it can go forward, it can do a lot of shit when you dump all those weights. That's what a normal implosion looks like on the tank. On a tank, that would be steel. So my subsea guy sent me some stuff. I'm not just doing this on the own. I had support from subsea engineers that manufacture this shit. And here's your thruster mount. All right. They reference behind here is that damn bladder. I'm trying to escape this a little bit differently. Oh, I gotta demagnify it. Okay. So let me get you the, yeah, that's the part's driving me crazy no matter where I go. This is one of the brackets. So it shows you they have problems with brackets, the iterations, they kept going through them. This is one of their brackets. It has 1, maybe 2, 3 bolts. This is that one with the offset screw I talk about, bolt. And it's just very weird setup. How about that? Here it is here. I don't know if thrusters on it again, but they're the weights here. And they happen to be what? On the fucking skids. They're not hanging from there. But this might be the hanging weights. But these are not. They're left there for counterweight. Obviously for counterweight. And so then we get the skid weight we talked about earlier. And then we have the, help you remember, the dingleberries hanging out. Yeah, I know that's kind of gross, but it helps you remember. I'm not close to finding this damn connection. Nope. I am not. It's like I'm never going to find it. This is when a subsea guy sent me that. It's a fake titanium, mark of titanium stamping on it. This is out there. What do you call it? Counterfeit titanium is out there. They're stamping and all. And it corrodes like the devil. That's corrosion of this. He gave me permission to share. And this is the fake, and that's the T stamp. Titanium, not TI, TI. Oh, I mentioned this in another video. There's the rivets I talk about, the screw bolt type rivets, nuts, other side, and that's that bracket. Let's move on faster and faster. Here's the different iterations of it. This is one of the versions. This is another version. Offset bolt. Oh, there it is. As you can see, I said, Lord's to pay me for pointing them out, pointing them into this as a history of failure to engineer sufficiently enough. And there's that connection, the bolted connection through there. And I said version 2 did come apart during failure. Not this side, I think it's the other side. This side still might be there, but the bolt connections are 3 here. 1, 2, 3. How the hell did they bolt it? Look, this is right mid-line of the bolts. So is this just a screw? How the hell they do that? I mean, I'd hate to say it, but they just use a fucking, oh gosh, what's that screw called? It's like a pop rivet screw threaded bolt. Come on, guys, you know what it's called? A shitload of them, my memory just freezing. Did they just thread those in there and then screw down into them? what did they do? How did they screw this pooch? Here's your 1/3 scale. He talks about the 90-degree glue left behind at the 0 degree. Well, look at that. There's about 90 degrees worth of glue left behind, roughly off the 90 of the 0. And isn't that interesting, right? Isn't that noteworthy on the scale model? Oh boy. There's a better shot of it. Right there. Just cleaned off. Now, remember the people that say it's imploded together. People got too much invested in your other channels. You're believing them like they're God's talking to you. They're not able to change position or think properly, process properly. This is on the rear of the hull. This is on the rear of the dome. It's married to it beautifully. You don't see it bent up, even forced back into here, but yet you're telling me it imploded together without the back end coming off first, and yet this is all there. So it can do all that damage to the inner vessel, but nothing to the outer. Now can you have it folding in and shearing? I did consider that, and that would get us everywhere close by, all the debris field close by. This doesn't work that way. This doesn't work that way because the debris field doesn't show it close by. It's all, hundreds of meters apart. Moving on. There's a code sheet that everybody says that they would use in case of emergency. There's an SOS here that they use the words SOS. They did not use it. Here is the part of this materials that came up. This is clearly not part of the implosion, right? Right? I mean, can you agree to that? That these legs were dropped. This shows aborting the mission. I stated that in the videos initially made. This is the version 1 with steel across. This is showing a part of the aborted mission. But some of you can't accept that. You're like, no, that's part of implosion, and they just didn't even, they just magically made it out. Okay. Clowns. I mean, I'm so irritated now that I've been blocking people. I've gone back to blocking on this because I've got so many trolls coming over telling me that it's imploded at the site. All right, I did a video on this, and I talk about the interface ring, how it rips. All right, that this would be duplication of how it also fails in the real world, and there it is. All right, now somebody wants me to answer the outside edge, why it failed like that. I have an answer. I'm going to hold off for now. I'll just say I gave it to you already. Oh, my house music, sorry. Oh, I know what's going on. I think I'm in a video. I'm here in my own screenshots. I like house music. It's rhythmic. I like the sound of it. That's the V1. It's the making of the 1/3 scale model. This is the making of the 1/3 scale model. NIST or Coast Guard, if you want me to send you that image because it's been scrubbed from the internet, I'll send it to you. Here's a casting, all right? That's what it looked like rough. NIST or Coast Guard, if you want me to send it to you, I'll send you the original. All right, there it is. And then that's just after it's been machined to some degree. Here's our belly. I think I call it strap point loading. And there's our belly weights. This is version 1 though. So we don't know what version 2 actually looks like. Exactly. They just came off the platform. There are the dingleberries hanging from there with the weights, but there's also the weights here for counterbalance, and over here also. Remember, if you move these counterweights, this counterbalance, what will this thing do? Rock and roll, baby. Rock and roll, literally. I mean, it's going to roll. And so this is one of my first versions of it. Hoop directions, etc. I talk about this a long time ago about the neutral axis here. I talk about it, that it's not the same. Some of it's in tension, some of it's in compression. That you should not be getting any strain gauge reading inside. Now, behind this tarp could be the other part that I'm looking for. Thruster mounts, you can see they're pretty damn beefed up. Now, is this a fucking nut on the other side like this, or did they go into the damn vessel? I doubt they went to the vessel because they've had this off a couple times. I think this is a nut on the other side. So it's someone like me on the other side, a nut. This is some of my hydraulic testing equipment. I don't know what it's doing over here. This is some modeling I made to prove to you that when they wrap it, it can't just be 90 degrees. It's got to be a slight thread. See, it's got to be a slight pitch. And I use another tape to show you. When I made this model, I used up a lot of tape. And this is what ultimately... Nope, that's not me. And back to my pump. Oh. Yeah, that's a good... You can get that pump for $2,000 right now. And that was used. It's a pump. It's a gauge. It's a tester for hydraulics. All right, V1 up there, version 1. Ball to connection. This shows it's not, that it has a natural ability to hunch down. You see it? With the batteries on, this wants to bend down, deflect down, putting tension in whatever hell connection they have it on up here. And then eventually you're going to kickstand it, or maybe it's there already with this down. And then the spine is going to reinforce it. And that spine is going to be resting here, which creates a pry bar effect if it's resting on the steel, and it makes a force multiplier. The same load becomes a force multiplier to pry this off. So their engineer designed to, if it did touch the hull in any reason at all, including jerking motions, it becomes a pry bar at that point, figuratively pry bar of the design shape, and literally starts prying up on here. So figuratively pry bar, but literally starts prying up on this connection over the many cycles, humping down the road or humping down the sea. So that's critical for you to understand that how close that rib is to how close that design, get back to the mic, sorry, how close the design is to the, to that there. Where the hell are you? This is one of my designs. I actually made the back of the Titan here, and I did a little scale, and I put a bottle in there, and I charged it with air to show it sliding off. I considered this a tank sliding off, and it could shear its way out of the rear end without harming. Left the legs would have to be torn apart. I think at that force, I made some uprights for it. I welded up this whole thing. And it's just concept. This was another one. I put it underwater testing it. And yeah, if you can get it charged from the back, you could get it sliding off forward like that, shearing that way, if you could. And that's that lady, or was a lady in there talking about it. Where we go? I want to show you this, the rear end. I want to get to that. So just remember this weight system cost 120 grand that they could have installed, but instead they made their own, and their own looks like, is this mic working? Testing, yeah. And their own looks like this, like you said, 37 pounds each, but it looks like they made them heavier. Looks like they tack welded another 3 together. So drop 2 weights equals what? That's significant. That's a weld. That's a weld. That's a weld. That's a weld. So when he said maybe one of these are 37 pounds, but this is significantly more. This weight here, significant. Drop 2 weights. You drop 2 bundles of these, and you drop a shitload of weights. And I don't know how that drops. It's just sitting up there. What the hell? Yeah, it's sitting up there. Look at the little ledge. So this is the rocker one that you rock it and it rolls off. So this has to stay pretty plumb all the way down then. So this is one of the manual rocker weights. So if this doesn't weigh, if this doesn't rotate this deck's off, you roll this away and it's a much longer climb to the top. Maybe there's one on the other side too that they roll off. Look at that. This is the first time I've noticed that tab. Shit. Let me get you the back part. Like I said, it's very, the bladder system. So there's the bladder system there. All right, that's the one that's going to load up. It looks like it goes underneath that band again, which would lift that band up, and that could shear the connections there, depending on how strong the airbag is and if it fractures the airbag. Okay, bear with it. Scrolling to the top. I think it's near the top. Come on. Okay. I wanted to show you this black force multiplier I talk about. The rib. It's sitting on the back of it. The dome, it's very tight, and there we are. So there it is there, mapping the dome just perfectly. So if I were to push down on this, which I don't have to push down, just the dead load weight alone, and the shape of this acts like a pry bar to shear this, just by being in contact with it. So this is part of the defect in this mechanical engineer's thinking. This is that, I don't know if Tony was part of this with it's up to version 2. I don't know if did he make it to version V2? I don't recall. But I think this was part of V1, this rib. But this alone is your force multiplier with the dead load here that can pry this away. If this breaks, I only got to defeat 3 bolts on each side. And you just need that with an incline. And this is a shitload of weight. And the buoyancy part of it is maybe back here with the weight, with the foam, and also this airbag. The negative part to that would be the weight of these batteries, which are friggin' significant weight. I'm not making light of that at all. Literally not making light of that at all. And again, we have our force multiplier there. Let me escape this. Shoot. Great. Great. I'm trying to escape the larger image. I don't see my X. Fuck. So that would be our force multiplier there. Titan. Cats. Steel. What? Oh, fuck. Titan. Come on, Titan. Show yourself. Okay, here we go. And that force multiplier would give us this bend down. Like, see how this is bent like that? If this were the bend down with that force multiplier angle, it would give that bent over. Remember, it hits the sand, but I don't imagine the sand can bend this steel. So I imagine the back end could bend down and bend this, pry it off and bend this steel. That would give us our shearing that I need to just get rid of the top. Remember, this was naturally wanting to go fall at the rear end, and that's why they put that rib in there, that strong back across the back. Now, I've been holding this back forever because the bandits are going to steal it, fucking bandits going to steal it. So there's the bent steel there. This would be our force multiplier upon that load going there. And that would pry us up here. That would then only leave these. That could be that pop from a long time ago. Not inspectable, perhaps, right here. See, not inspectable. Clue for future video, I keep telling people. I put that there a long time ago. I don't know when I loaded this image up, but made the image. But the this weight back here is our force multiplier. The pry bar also. The weight on extended cantilever is the issue. Here it is without the weight. You can see pretty fucking straight, right? Look at it. Awesome. No problem. This rib system. Oh, let me get you the bottom. There it is. So it comes over here and it's on the interface ring. It's that block. Perfect. Flat. Look at that. Straight. Now, one more time before we roll out. Oh, that works. Now, all of a sudden, we get our force multiplier. This is hugging the end cap. Weight down here creates a tension on this bolt. One way or another, tension on this bolt constantly, always. And that's because of the rib. Now, let's look at it without the rib, that strong back. Where are you without the strong back? Under design, under working on it, and they put the batteries on it. That's the image I'm looking for. Bandits are creaming in their pants right now. They're like, I'm stealing that image. I'm stealing that image. All right. So here it is now with the weight on it. Look at it. Look at its orientation. That strong back goes in there and changes everything. It now makes it so it makes the cantilever, it makes it all stronger off this cantilever. But with the trade-off of excess stress at this connection, right here, once you jack this up, put the strong back in, then there's your defect. And then you can see this bar just bent all the way down. This is the version 1. It just naturally wants to bend down. And so what stopped it from bending down was a strong back. I'm going to end this video because you know the way to get. My 20-minute videos get kind of long. I could go on more. This is like a, you know, you can write multiple doctorate's papers on things like this Titan or the Champlain Towers building or the FIU bridge. People should write multiple doctorate's papers, but, you know, you got to have a crazy brain like mine to process all this data and see how they all interact. But if you're stuck to working with the computer to be your mind, that is a finite element program modeling, you don't have a mind like mine anymore. You lost it because you transitioned to computer taking over the brain power, and the computer doesn't see this because you don't program in there the stress of the, you don't program in there, you know, the defect of the stress that's here, and it doesn't see it. It's like, okay, maybe a little bit of coloration behavior. I just couldn't help end it with a troll.